Anyway, so hello, Marie.
Okay, can start again, please.
Hi, Marie.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm okay. Very anxious.
I'm really, really happy you're here. I invited you to do this podcast.
Oh God.
I think about a year ago.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah.
You don't have to. It was like a week ago.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Please.
You were so reactive. You came right away.
Yeah, you said, can you come? And I said, dude, I do this all the time. I'm not scared.
Okay. So I discovered you on TikTok. You have a book talk channel.
I do.
Yes, where you do funny TikTok memes and speak about and you speak about books. You do book recommendations, etc. So before we get to that, could you introduce yourself?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Not gonna lie, not a lot to say.
I think there's a lot to say, actually.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's okay. Well, hi.
Hello.
I'm Marie. I'm 25 currently. And I love
Whatever this podcast happens.
It started when I was 24.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, so if you see this in 10 years, she's gonna be 35.
It's me. I'm the issue. I love to read. I study psychology, amongst other things.
Okay.
Yeah, love film photography. I study film photography. I have a degree in film photography and in graphic design. Currently working on a degree in psychology.
Could you give me your set of skills, some of which I'm aware of? I'm sure a lot I'm not aware of as well.
I can do that. I mean, does that not seep into hobbies, though?
It is.
It
does. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, shit. There's a lot.
Okay.
All right. I like to paint a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm a very skilled handyman or handy woman. I like to fix things.
Okay.
I like to wire stuff to other stuff, which is fixing things. Yeah. I like to solder shit. I like to carve wood. I love to carve wood. I love to sculpt. Yeah. I am... I wouldn't say skillful, but I love doing all of them.
Could you mention a few things that you have carved/sculpted?
I know where you're going with this.
Yeah.
Ships.
Okay.
Okay, so when it comes to woodworking, I mostly love creating ships. I love painting ships, I love sketching ships, and I love creating ships. I don't know why. I just love ships. The process takes forever. I don't have many resources. Heck, I don't even have like a proper space to do it, but it makes me happy. I think it's because it's a long process. I think, me included, but we, especially this generation, are so accustomed to everything being fast. Everything being fast. You know, TikTok and everything is one of them.
How long does it take you to make a ship?
Oh, 6 months to a year. It depends.
Okay.
6 months is if I am consecutive with it and consistent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you counted how many hours?
No, I have not.
Okay.
I should do that.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
Actually, yes. Yeah.
But it takes a long time, and I like doing it the way I do it, even though it's, I guess, primitive.
How so?
Well, I don't really have the proper tools for creating stuff, but the process of not having tools and being able to be resourceful is in itself something I love to do. I like it a lot. Same with my videos, as you know.
Yeah.
I do everything myself.
And you do it.
And I do it.
You do it on your phone.
With a little potato phone.
Which is so crazy to me because I do podcasts and I do clips for my podcasts, and it's a frustrating process. Thank you to do these clips. So I can imagine how not straightforward it is for you to do it on your phone.
It's not straightforward.
But let me say something, because you have TikTok, but we haven't mentioned that you also have a YouTube channel, which is full of videos, and videos that are sometimes 10 minutes, 15 minutes long, 15 minutes long. And
15 is short.
15 is short because some of them are really long. And I want to talk about so many things that you do.
You're better at it than I am, to be honest. So, yeah.
Yeah, and when I click on it, knowing what you use, what tools you have to do the editing, I am jaw-dropped by the quality of the
And I don't
video.
understand that, because to me it's not something big.
It's masterful editing. It's literally masterful editing. It's really, really well made. And because like there are cuts that like happen exactly at the right moment.
Yeah.
There are zooms that happen at like the point where the human brain realizes it's a joke and it's not real, and whatever you said is actually very funny. So there are things that you do with editing that conveys the message even better, which is not something I can do, even though I have years and years of editing on my belt.
Yeah.
So, and you do it all with your phone.
I do.
I congratulate you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Some people are just talented. No, I'm sorry.
I guess, yeah.
Kidding. I don't know where that came about. I mean, I wouldn't say I had a lot of experience, but I am a very artful person. And I've grown up very attached to my father, who is a really artful person and an artist. And but I guess some of his artfulness had seeped in. And speaking about carving wood and stuff like that, that was all my grandfather. All of it.
Okay.
Electricity work, car work, wood, anything that has to do with painting, anything like that, grandfather. Anything that has to do with poetry, father. And it's a beautiful meld. And I feel very grateful that I have that.
And yeah, so you have it, not only do you have it in your genes, but also you were educated to those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it also, I guess it has a lot to do with personality and one's own sense of humor. Because it depends. Another person can watch a video and the way that I edit it and not get anything or not get why it's edited that way. So it depends. To me, it's funny shit. I mean,
oh yeah, it is to me as well. It is to me as well.
Yeah, and it's difficult to make things now the way I would like or the way a person would like, because if you're trying to captivate someone, if you're trying to captivate a Gen Z audience, you need to be fast. Yeah, and you need to edit in a fast way, and you need to be kind of flashy and boastful, which I don't really do. Very slow. And I don't like, and it's overwhelming. So I don't know, I guess it is difficult to remain truthful to what I like, but I am, and it got me to meet you, so that's fun.
Let's talk about books, because this is like the main reason why I got you here.
Let's talk about books.
Okay, so it's okay. Let's start with the very beginning. Okay. You are a huge, I think the biggest book nerd I've ever met in real life.
Me?
Yes, no. You yourself. Yeah.
Me?
Yeah. And like I am personally, I want to speak about myself, I could say that I am a huge car nerd, and I could tell you about how that came about. There were a few things that I've been exposed to when I was very, very young. Yeah. That made me, that created this passion in me. And I want to know what made you so interested in books. When did it start? How did it happen?
Well, it wasn't an inherent interest. I mean, it is kind of inherent, but that is something that I had discovered after I had been interested in books, which I'm going to circle back to in a second. Okay. But it didn't start as an interest in books. Okay. It didn't. It started as an escape. I had a questionable childhood. And it was literally the only thing that was safe, and it remains practically the only thing other than my cat that is safe, fully safe. I didn't realize that at the time, obviously. When I was young, I went into a kind of a talent show situation, and I won a stack of books. There were a stack of random French children's stories, and I read and reread and reread and reread and reread, and I literally started learning French because of them. And when it comes to more well-known books, that is the start of everyone. It's either the Harry Potter books, it's either the Hobbit, the Harry Potter, or the Percy Jackson books for every book nerd for some reason. For me, it was and remains the Harry Potter books, and that started because I had watched and rewatched the movies an ungodly amount of time, an abominable amount of time. Again, as an escape. Yeah, as an escape. I got myself, borrowed myself a stack of... Shut up.
I did the same though, it's okay.
Borrowed. Wink. Yeah. Can't wink. Borrowed myself a stack of Harry Potter DVDs.
Okay.
By the way, this is where I would stop the music and make the cough amplified in the editing.
Oh, right.
Or where I would cut and make it maybe black and white to say that this is happening backstage and go wink wink.
Okay. Okay.
Just
taking mental notes right now.
So yeah, I had watched and rewatched the Harry Potter books the movies, to the point where I can kind of recite the first few movies by heart.
Okay.
Which is kind of insane, but makes for a fun buddy watch, not annoying to people at all.
Yeah.
And then I had gotten the books as a gift. And when I tell you, the chokehold that they had on me is godlike.
Could you elaborate on that?
Yeah. I didn't speak English very well at the time. Obviously, I was a kid.
Have you went through the process of a raw reading a book that you which language you did not understand?
The Harry Potter books.
Okay,
yes,
I have been through that experience as well.
And it was so fun.
Yeah, it is.
It was so fun. Yeah, and I read them so much where my accent had gotten so good that by the time I went to middle school and by the time I started actually learning English, I didn't know how I was getting there. I didn't know how it was so good.
Okay.
And my teachers didn't know how it was so good. It was rereading the goddamn books over and over again. And it was an escape. And it remains an escape. And it's, I guess it's a vicarious portal to a world where it's fiction. It's fantasy. It's a world where you don't have to think about things, that you can just be consistently mindless until it's over. And it's, lucky me, a ginormous amount of books of storytelling and a beautiful amount of storytelling. And it's captivating. Yeah.
And they end surprisingly quick when you read through them.
They do,
yeah.
Even the chunkiest ones.
Yeah,
and it's my favorite book.
The fourth.
It is my favorite book, The Order of the Phoenix.
Why so?
Because it's so chunky.
It's not. The chunkiest is the Order of the Phoenix. It's not. The Goblet of Fire.
No, Order of the Phoenix is chunkier than the Goblet of Fire.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I have bad memory.
And okay, so a lot of people say that the third book. This is becoming like a strictly niche Harry Potter podcast. Sorry.
It's partly so. Yeah.
So a lot of people usually say that the Goblet of Fire is where things get darker and Harry grows up and stuff, which I disagree with. It is the Order of the Phoenix. There was a change there that happened. So we know that Harry is a Horcrux. This is really becoming a Harry Potter podcast. We know that Harry is a Horcrux. And we can see that in the Order of the Phoenix. You can pick up on some things along the way, but in the Order of the Phoenix, you can tell that there's something wrong, I guess, with him. Something is askew. Something is not okay. And he showcases a lot of anger, and he showcases a lot of development, a lot of character development. And we see that as well in the movies, and we see that in real life as well, which is why it's my favorite.
How so?
Well, at a certain age, you go through adolescence, you start going through adolescence, and you have a lot of anger within, and a lot of rage, and a lot of resentment that at the time you don't understand where it's from, and it's comforting.
That you are a Horcrux.
No.
Yeah.
Imagine. It's comforting to see a character done in that way, and it's comforting to see adolescence done in a fictional world, wrapped around being a Horcrux. Yeah, and after knowing what it actually means, and after knowing what everything means in the universe, what the Dementors are, and what this is, and what they represent, and stuff like that, it just makes me want to reread the gosh darn book again. And it makes the book something that I personally can carry with me now and forever. It's a wonderful experience when you're younger, but it's an educating experience when you're older. And I'm sure it's very much comforting when I am older still.
Yeah. What happened to J.K. Rowling? She made a masterpiece and then like what the hell happened? And then she turned cringe.
Sometimes it's better to just
die.
To just not say anything, to not tweet anymore.
Imagine Tolkien had Twitter accounts.
It's one of those points where I'm glad he died.
Yeah.
I'm glad he died when he
Stop here.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
I think I don't know what happened, and I don't care. And it saddens me that there are a lot of people that find it difficult to get into the world of Harry Potter because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even people that were into the world already want to not be there anymore and find it difficult to speak about it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like that. It's taken literally the magic out of what she created.
Not completely though, because the magic was so prominent that it's still very magical. There was a controversy about the video game that came out in 2022.
Yeah.
Not
Hogwarts Legacy.
Hogwarts Legacy, and a lot of people decided to boycott it. Yeah. But it sold a lot.
I love that game so much.
Copies, yeah. Have you played it, or did you just watch?
I watched it a lot
of gameplay. Yeah. It was really fun exploring Hogwarts, and I got lost many times.
That's what happens when you read a good book as well. Actually, speaking of getting lost, every gameplay that I watched that I enjoyed were just them doing side quests.
Okay.
Yeah, completely disregarding what you should do and getting lost in discovering. Yes. It was so well made.
Well, I because I didn't finish the game, so I cannot really speak about it. But the beginning of the story, the main story, did not really hook me.
Yeah.
At all. Did it hook you? Did you find it good?
Anything Harry Potter would hook me.
Okay.
Anything and everything. Actually, that's a lie. Not anything and everything. About that, I hate when we have something that it's canon. Actually, the movies aren't canon. If you read the books,
completely.
They're not canon if you read the books.
Well, they are canon, but not completely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Whatever. But what was I saying?
The things that you hate about Harry Potter.
Yeah, when we have something that is, we have the movies, chef's kiss, masterpieces, love them so much. We have the books, amazing, incredible. We have Hogwarts Legacy. I guess it was really well done. Okay,
yes, it's a good homage.
And incredible, and it's introduced a lot of people who aren't into Harry Potter to the world. That made them want to watch the movies. They made them want to read the books, and then made them want to read more books.
Yes, and it gave us the opportunity to explore the lore.
Yes,
which is fascinating.
Yeah.
Do we let her in?
Please.
You were talking about the good things about Harry Potter.
Yeah.
We mentioned the game, and then what do you hate?
I hate when they keep coming out with things over and over and over again. Let it die. Let it be. It's done. Yeah. We have our movies. We have our books. We have a game. Stop.
Yes, let us go now.
Stop.
Yeah.
I was not, and I am not a fan of the Fantastic Beasts series. The movie is well done. It's well done.
I did not like it.
It's the movie.
Oh no,
just
no.
as a movie, subjectively speaking.
Yeah.
It's well done.
Okay.
It's really well done. But
yeah. Yeah, it's
I'm fighting this hard not to say يا صاحبي.
بزاف. Let the cow die.
Stop! You are beating a dead horse, my dude.
Yeah.
Stop! I don't like that. And they keep coming up with more things. And then there is a show.
The show that's coming out. Yeah, on HBO.
Yeah.
So they're gonna do the whole one season per episode or per book.
I think one chapter per episode and then one season per book, maybe.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And
so it remains canon.
Yeah, they claim it's going to be really canon.
Yeah.
I don't believe that.
Neither do I.
Yeah.
I don't think it's possible to be extremely canon, as there are things that work only in books. For example, just in the movies, whenever I watched them and then I read the books when I figured out how to understand the damn language, but when I did and figured out what the heck was happening, there were a lot of things that are minute details that are banal, but they were changed in the movies. And I question, it's so small, why was it changed in the movies? For example, Cornelius Fudge, who was the headmaster of the Ministry of Magic. This is so detailed.
Yeah, please.
So Cornelius Fudge, who was the headmaster of the Ministry of Magic, wore a lot of insane outfits.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
In the books.
And he didn't.
None
in
of
the
that
movies.
was translated in the movies
Yeah.
because it doesn't translate in the movie.
Yeah,
It would look like a Wes Anderson film.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was sad that they did not show us the relationship that Hagrid had with the tall lady.
Maxime.
Yeah, Maxime.
Yeah, they had a whole
They held the
hype
whole thing. I
going
thought
on.
it was just a small crush when I watched the movie.
Yeah.
But no, Hagrid was a little. Yeah. Good for you, Hagrid. Good for you. Yeah.
She was insane.
Yeah.
As well.
Okay.
And it was a sad story though in the books, wasn't it? Do you
A
remember?
little bit so.
It was
because she had to go.
Not
right.
because she had to go.
Oh, she was a bit ashamed. I think
She was ashamed of her lineage. She was ashamed of being half
giant,
yes.
half human.
And that's one of the things that while reading as a child and reading them now, it means something completely different. Completely different. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's something relatable. You know, if you don't have the IQ of a Russian toilet, it's something relatable. Oh my god, that was so mean.
No, it's not. Russian toilets are the worst.
Go ahead, leave it, I guess.
Yeah.
But another thing, for example, Professor Looping, do you know what his deal is? What he represents?
What does he represent?
You do not know?
No.
So he represents having AIDS.
Wow, so why?
Think about it a little bit. He has something that he can't share with people because he would get immediately ostracized. Something that if he, as a fictional character, he bit other people or he transforms and bits other people, it's contagious.
Still, he had a kid.
Yeah, because that's doable.
Oh, it is?
Well, yeah, it's a fictional world.
Yeah, but still, it loses
the... It wasn't on T, though, but that was the...
Okay.
Yeah,
I guess it could. But in that sense, I couldn't help but think Harry Potter, the whole thing, is an analogy about schizophrenia.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Big
because
time.
at some point, I started reading the books and I was like, don't think about it, don't think about it, don't think about it.
You bonked his head.
Yeah. Like his aunt told him that he was in an accident.
Yeah.
And that he has a scar and that his parents died in this stupid way.
They went and got themselves blown up.
Yeah. And he got a scar from it.
Yeah.
And
no one tells him about where they come from, what did they do, blah, blah, blah. Nothing makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he has these things that he feels. And, for example, in the books, his hair grows abominably fast.
Yeah.
Abnormally fast, all over the place.
Yeah.
It's just everywhere. Mm-hmm. And that's a little detail that he's different, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And also, it's someone who's mentally ill who is also incredibly badly treated by his foster family. Yeah. And he needed an escape.
He did.
And he found it in his head. And suddenly when he was sent to a mental institution. Mm-hmm. He decided that it was Hogwarts.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. Harry Potter is the fantasy fight club. Yeah. There you go.
Fight club for kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like Fight Club on LSD.
I guess Fight Club is about a guy who loses his nuts, and he has to kind of accept that. Yeah, and it's also a horrible story. But the thing, since we're talking about Fight Club, a lot of people watch Fight Club, including me, and we thought Brad Pitt is really cool. Yeah, and it took me a while to realize. Well, I thought Brad Pitt was acting really badly with his subjects in the cult, because it wasn't mentioned that it was a cult, and I thought that was it. I thought it was just being shitty, but no, that's how cults work.
Yeah.
Yeah, that like the fact that you said, "Oh, rabbit is cool," it means you're susceptible to get into a cult, to follow a leader, a charismatic leader. So yeah, that was a thing. Same thing happened with, I think, Patrick Bateman, Psycho, American Psycho, 2001. Have you seen it?
I have not seen it.
Okay, you have to see it as a young man.
Okay.
To understand.
I don't think I'll have the opportunity, unfortunately, to be a young man.
You never know. You know, science today. Yeah.
Grows a beard for one day just to watch a goddamn movie.
I swear. And it's dominating the meme world. Christian Bale, like doing this, or like holding the iPhone and everything. So yeah, so it inspired a lot of people to be that. Yeah. Like ironically so.
I know.
They made.
That's the point. Is for you to not be that.
To not be that,
and people are just like, this is me from now on. Yeah, especially younger people.
And I really thought that. I watched it when I was like 24.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm gonna be 27 in 3 years. This is who I'm gonna be. Yeah. And then I was 27 and I was like,
starts hanging out with an axe. That's something lost in translation that I don't want to say I hate, but I don't know, it's like, it's underwhelming to see. There are a lot of books, for example, Nabokov's Lolita. That is a difficult book to bring up and a difficult book to talk about, because it discusses a relation with someone who is underage with someone who is much older. Yeah.
Cute. Adorable.
That's the thing.
No.
That's what people go after. It's cute.
Oh.
Genuinely.
Oh.
And it became an aesthetic.
Okay.
The Lolita aesthetic is an aesthetic. Mm-hmm. The nymph aesthetic is an aesthetic. So the issue with that book is that, to me, the message of that book is highlighting how children are susceptible to that, how it's easy to take advantage of, the ramification of it, how consistent it is in their later life as an adult, how much it completely ruins and completely makes a ruin of a person's life that has been subjected to abuse by someone, and how parents disregard that. Because in the book Lolita, a woman falls in love with a man and she lets him into the home. I think he was a teacher, I don't remember correctly, but I think he was a teacher, and she has a daughter, and he is attracted to her daughter. And in the book it is romanticized, and in the movie it is romanticized. But that's the point. Yeah. That's the point. It's romanticized because as a child, she sees it through rose-colored glasses. Mm-hmm. There is a shift in the movie and in the structural narrative of the book where her perspective changes. And we meet her at the last time that we will see Lolita in the movie. She's older, her hair is longer, she's, spoiler alert, pregnant. And that was all the ramification of his doing. And the color changed in the movie.
Okay.
Yeah, it changed completely. It goes from a Wes Anderson pink and blue and cute to a Tarantino that is yellow and all green and yellow and ruggedy and grubby. Yeah, okay. And that's a huge message. There's a reason behind that. And people completely disregard that and just go like, oh, this is either cute or, oh, this is the worst thing that I've ever seen or read in my entire life. There's a middle point that the author tried to get you to understand, and you're completely disregarding
So
that.
the middle point being, to the child, it's not something disgusting or horrible, but it is when you see it from a third-person view on the situation. Yes. So you have to understand how the child feels in order to help them, I guess.
And also from a third-person POV, it's so easy to see parents disregarding their kids in that way and putting them in harm's way, and disregarding the fact that they are putting them in harm's way. It's okay. There are a lot of people, especially Gen X and millennials, who grew up without having a phone. I mean, basically all of y'all, they grew up without having a phone, without having access to, what we have now, and to literally be outside until it's what, 5 p.m., 6 p.m., and then you go home. Mm-hmm. And that was normal. Yeah. It was normal for your parents to let you out
and not know where you are.
And not know where you are or who you're with.
Mm-hmm.
people were trusting.
I think they were not aware of not only the dangers, but also the ramifications of those dangers. If something happens, I've had a student, a senior student, who had an issue with her daughter, and all she did was just say something a bit rude to the predator of her daughter, and that was it. But she has no idea that her daughter might be damaged for good because of this.
Probably is.
Yeah. She does not understand that. And I was explaining to her, do you realize how bad what happened is?
Yes, and how bad it's become from your reaction.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because she just said, Wallah ma haqqa alik, and then left. Like, I'm sorry, but if I had said to her daughter, shut up, you could tell me, Wallah ma haqqa alik, this is a child, you can't just tell them to shut up. I get it. But not that. And like she said, Wallah ma haqqa alik, she blamed him for it, and then she left. And I told her, did you not tell the police about it?
There is no
She said, no, I did not want to do that. But your daughter has to see that you stood up for her.
Yes.
She has to see that there are consequences to what happened, and that what happened is completely not okay, to the point that the guy went to prison for it.
Yes.
And sure enough, a few weeks later, she came to me and told me that he did it to other people, and they told the police about it, and he went to prison. He's now in prison. And if she had done something, he wouldn't have done it to other people.
Yeah.
I think this is maybe Gen Z is the first generation that is like speaking about this openly.
Yeah.
Even millennials, us, like including me, it took me a while to be like, yeah, this is an important thing and we need to be aware of it, and everyone needs to be aware of it. Because if you had asked me when I was like 24 if it was okay to let your child be alone in a room with an adult teacher, I would have told you, yeah, absolutely. Now, I would never let that happen.
Yeah.
Never. I would set up a camera and keep looking at the screen.
I have a lot of people in my life who are millennials or Gen X that when I say stuff like this, it's like batshit insane to them. It's insane. I would say I would never in my life have a child and just let them go outside for hours and hours and hours. Let them get private lessons with someone.
There's a thing.
My Lord.
There's a thing that I saw a TikTok. Maybe I told you about this before. I saw a TikTok video where a guy who lives in the United States, an Algerian guy who lives in the United States, and he was saying, please, Algerians, when you come here, there are a few things that you must not do.
Don't touch kids.
Wait. He said, if you do these things, it's not that you're going to pay a fine or you're going to prison. They're going to make sure that you lose everything in your life.
Yeah.
They're going to make sure that you are over. So please be mindful about this. He said, first, do not like caress the head of a child. Head pat the head of a child or that you don't know, which we do in Algeria.
Not only that, but it goes into things that are, I'm sorry to be, I guess, explicit, but they give access to people that isn't normal. It's not just petting a head of a child. It's more than that, and it's normalized.
Yeah.
I think, and I it's not something subjective. I'm sorry. This is factual. Childhood abuse and children being abused, and I'm sorry, but pedophiles have been so normalized, so immensely.
How so?
Normalized. Are you kidding?
Tell me
if you
about
see someone now who's 15, if you see someone, say, not now because you gained a new perspective, but say 10 years ago, who's 17, okay? And she's like, oh, my parents actually are marrying me off to this 35-year-old dude. It's not something that you're gonna ponder on. It's not something that you're gonna be like.
I think everybody's grandmothers in Algeria married at 13 and 14.
That's not okay, folks. That's not okay.
Yeah.
That's not okay at all. I can now at 25.
They survived it.
Look back at when I was 15. and it's a whole different person.
Yes.
I was so stupid.
Yeah.
I was a child.
I saw a photo of mine actually yesterday when I was 17.
Yeah.
Fucking baby. I'm sorry, but no.
I am appalled by it, to be honest, and I don't understand it, and I don't want to understand it. And a lot of people say to me that, oh, it's not the same. It's from the perspective of a man. It's not the same. And it's not the same for men because it's been so normalized that a lot of people think it's fine. I'm sorry, if you're a dude and you find yourself attracted to a 15-year-old woman,
go get yourself checked.
She's not a woman, first of all. She's a girl. Okay,
yes, she's a child.
Get yourself. She's a child.
Yeah.
I can't. You know, I pass a high school and I look at high schoolers coming out and end of the school. They are babies.
Yeah.
They are babies.
Yeah.
And parents are letting these babies go off with a 30-year-old dude.
Yeah.
Are you insane? Are you insane?
Yeah.
Like, physically, you need to develop so much more. Your brain isn't developed.
Yes.
Your cortex is not developed.
Yeah.
Your amygdala is not developed at all.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that you're letting this happen to your child, you're not standing your ground. You're not telling them this is not normal. It's okay to have feelings. It's okay to be attracted to people. You're 17. You have feelings. You're a human being. That's normal. It's not okay for someone who's 30 to be attracted to a 16-year-old.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I don't care.
Yeah. There are so many romantic songs.
I know.
Yeah. Like a pedophilia song, and
That
it's
is
embedded
a
in our
pedophilia song.
culture.
Yes.
It's like
It's disgusting.
Yeah, everybody sings it.
I know.
Yeah.
And a lot of people sing it without even knowing what it means, without knowing the connotation of it.
It's on the radio.
It is, and it's so. These are the type of things that normalize this culture.
Yeah.
These are the type of things that we should be aware of.
Yeah. Can you imagine? There's like a 17-year-old girl, maximum, in high school, walking back to her home. She finished studies, and there's a guy walking by Tregelisi, and he's after her.
Yeah, that's a horror show.
That's a fucking horror show.
That is a nightmare.
And the song wasn't written as an ironic thing to make us see.
No, that was a real thing.
Honest to God.
This is how I feel. He said, "This is me. What are you gonna do about it? Nothing. That's why. No one is gonna do anything about it because it's normal.
Yeah.
It's normalized,
Mhm.
and it's insane.
Yes.
It is so insane. I can't fathom it. It's abnormal how normalized it is. That's the issue.
Yeah.
I feel like a gosh darn alien. I talk to people who are Gen X, who are boomers, and they're like, "Oh, why don't you get married?" When I was 15, bro, I am a kid.
Yes.
I want a color. Is that okay?
Yeah. Actually, when I was 16, they thought I was a woman, and someone came to my house, to ask for my hand. So you know the story. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, and imagine that tenfold. Amplify that for a woman, and it being forced on you, and it's being not only forced but normalized to the point where when you, as a girl, not a woman, say, "I don't want to do this right now. I feel like I'm too young," you'll be the weird one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had a valid excuse. I'm a dude, but to a girl, what's your
Yeah.
excuse?
They think, oh, she's weird. They're like,
Yeah.
why doesn't she want this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have fun with your cats, lady.
Yes, and when she's 24, you're too old for marriage now. You're
24
missing out.
is top tier marriage age now.
Okay.
From personal experience.
So it went from 13 in the 50s to 24 now, so it's better, I guess. Thanks, society.
I'm the kind of person that does not believe in marriage for the sake of marriage.
Okay.
I think it's a beautiful thing, shared consensually and with the right person.
Okay.
I don't believe in marrying just to fill your life. That will get you nowhere.
Oh. Yeah, but I can understand the choices of some people.
So can I. And so do a lot of people. Mm-hmm. It's understandable.
Yeah.
It's okay. But it'll get you nowhere.
Yeah.
Nowhere. Imagine someone, I've seen a lot of people that have severe personal issues severe traumatic issues. And the solution to that was, I'm gonna get married. Newsflash, asshole. That's not the solution.
Yeah.
That's not gonna fix stuff. You're gonna get into a honeymoon phase. You're gonna get into a honeymoon phase, and you're gonna get excited to plan things, and to do things, and to have this person, and to be with this person, and then you're with them, and then you want kids, and you think that's gonna fix everything, and you're bringing kids, which is so unjust, on top of a forced marriage, on top of you having immense personal issues, and you're bringing a kid to the world.
And then you dump all your issues on the kid.
And then you dump all your issues on the kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought you were going to fix my life.
Yes.
You made it worse.
You made it worse. You made
Yeah.
it more difficult. You made it this. You make it that.
Yeah. And I think a lot of that has fallen into a little bit of millennials and a lot of Gen Z to break that cycle.
Yeah.
A lot. Because we have more knowledge now. We have a lot of knowledge
Well,
now.
you say millennials, but recently I've been to a restaurant. It was my brother's birthday, and there was a family mainly composed of millennials, because millennials are adults now. I know I don't look like it, but yeah. So they have kids, and they had like two or 3-year-old kids, and they had a phone between them, and they were literally swiping on TikTok. Scrolling on TikTok, a video after the other,
I hate
and
that so much.
they were like
Transfixed.
They were transfixed.
Completely
They were
transfixed.
behaving,
Yeah.
etc. He's 2 years old,
Yeah.
and you're subjecting him to TikTok, to infinite reels.
Because people are not qualified to be parents. They
Yeah.
become parents because, one, a lot of people thought it was the thing to do. Right now, if my mother tells me, I want you to get married, and I say, I don't want to do that at the moment, I'm not ready.
Yeah.
I am not ready for a marriage. I can't be responsible for a child. It's not fair, it's not just. The response would more than likely always is, well, then what are you going to do? I don't fucking know, study.
Well, I've met some people in my life, and I've heard some stories. And there's a story that comes back frequently,
Yeah.
which is the 24-year-old girl who is pressured by her mother to be married.
Yeah.
And the things that they do in order to find men. Unspeakable things.
Yeah.
Because their mothers keep saying,
I know.
nobody's coming to
I know, yeah.
to propose to you.
And these people have grown up under the pressure of mothers and sometimes
Yeah.
fathers like this, and have such a fickle sense of self.
Yeah.
Such
So the first thing that they do is lower the bar to the maximum, to the minimum.
Minimum, yeah.
So the bar is already incredibly low.
bar is under the
but
ground.
Then,
Yeah.
But then they would meet people who, for reasons or others, like they're not going to like accidentally meet a good person on the first try. So they would meet a few people before they meet the right person that are just predators looking to take advantage of
Yes.
them. And what they do is these predators, they say, oh, we want to marry you. So they're ready to do anything to make that, to accomplish that
Yeah.
with this person. So you can imagine, like they would steal, they would
I know.
give off their bodies. They would do things that they never imagined doing.
Yeah.
And it's incredibly sad because there's an obsession, especially among girls, to find a husband.
Yeah.
And the obsession comes from the parents, because the parents say, we don't really want you here. Like, you should leave with your husband, whoever it is. We don't give a fuck.
Even if it's not that, even if it's not necessarily we don't even want you here, it's literally all they know.
Yeah.
All they know. Our mothers, our grandmothers didn't have access to even having their own home, to
Oh, yeah.
owning their own home. They
Yeah.
didn't. That was the entire point of the suffragette movement. Women did not have access to owning their own home, to even vote, to speak up, to not marry, to deny having kids, to this, to that. That's literally what they know. So seeing your granddaughter coming from a world like this where you're 18, you're married, and you already have 12 kids, to seeing your granddaughter who is 25, who has a driver's license, who has a car, who drives, who does this, who does that, who has multiple hobbies, who has a lot of interests, who wants to study and keep studying, who has aspirations that are actually achievable, who likes to travel, who likes to hike, who likes to do this and do that. It's something that they can't understand. Like, it's something you can't wrap your head around. They can't wrap their head around. It's something that it's always never enough. A lot of people, when you even tell them, I'm happy though, I'm immensely happy, I need to work on myself so that when I am married to someone, I'm ready to be a married person. Mm-hmm. And when I have a child, I am ready to be a parent. I'm not ready to be a parent at the moment. There's a lot of work to do here, a lot. Mm-hmm. And that's not fair. And they would be like, what do you mean that's not fair? I had you after I had 15 other kids. That was, you're fine. I'm not fine. Yeah. And we see that now because we have the knowledge. For example, you can see a mother that says, oh, but I had you when I was 12. I'm fine. They're not fine. No. Newsflash, they are not fine.
No, they're not fine.
They are not fine at all. Mm-hmm. And you can see all of these behaviors, and you can tell them what all of these behaviors are, and you can tell them where they come from, and you can tell them their name, and you can give them resources to understand them better. For example, you can see anxiety. You can see personality disorders even. You can see a lot of anxiety, to be honest. It's evident in a lot of...
What about just deep sadness?
Yeah. Chronic depression.
When I think about my maternal grandfather, I always like, when I think about her now, I realize that there was always in her a deep sadness somewhere.
There's an emptiness there, isn't there?
Yeah. And I thought it's because they were poor.
Yeah.
No, she was married at 13.
Yeah. And that's not normal.
That's not normal. She didn't have a childhood. She was forced into having multiple kids while she was under 16.
I think we disregard that these children are R-worded. Can I say that on your channel?
What's that?
Raped.
Oh, yeah, you can.
Okay.
Please say it.
I don't know. I think we disregard that these children are raped.
Yes. And it's difficult to take that into consideration because the person who raped them just so happens to be your father / your grandfather, whom you love very much.
Yeah.
So,
and they don't even consider it that at all.
Yeah.
You can hear a lot of conversations amongst older people where it's literally, what do you mean she doesn't want to have kids? Make her have kids.
Yeah.
She's 13, he's 15. Yeah, make her have kids.
Yes.
And these children are being raked completely. Their sense of self is gone.
Yeah. I have a friend who got married, and he really wanted to spend 2 years without having kids. For one of the reasons was because he didn't feel ready personally to have kids, and also he wanted to live alone with his wife. Like, he wanted to get acquainted to his wife and understand her and like be close to her before they would have a third person in the house and with whom they would spend a lot of time.
How crazy of him!
I know. And he and she were both having a lot of pressure from everyone.
Yeah.
Like, even his friends, his peers, they were telling him, but how come you didn't have a kid? It's been 2 years since we married you off. Like, you don't have a kid yet.
They can't fathom the fact that someone is just happy.
Yeah, and he says, no, I control
myself.
And they say, that's haram. Like, you're not supposed to do that. And so it's embedded in our society. And you know what? Algeria is one of the few countries where the government and the institution have overtaken the people and society in terms of these issues. Because as soon as 1962, without any civil rights movement, women were able to vote for president, women were able to work, women were able to do a lot of things. I'm not sure about details, but compared to even Switzerland, they gave the right to vote to women in the 1970s. Can you imagine that? Yeah. So we're still not there.
Yeah.
We're still not there mentally.
I had a conversation with, seen the live with an author recently, and we spoke about this. She centered her book in the 1970s for this reason.
Yes.
For this exact reason, because women and men had a lot of issues as well, but women weren't even considered, you know, on the same tier as men. And that is insane to read now, and we still have issues. And to be honest, I don't see us getting there in my timeline.
There's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of people who need to die of old age. Before we can see a difference. So, books.
Speaking about this, actually, I can circulate back into books. No worries.
Oh.
Okay.
So speaking about what?
About what we're speaking.
Actually,
about.
I would like you to tell me about Home for the Bewildered, the book that fascinated you recently.
It did.
Yeah, would you like to speak about it?
I would love to speak about it. So, recently I had the incredible chance to speak to the author of the book Home for the Bewildered. Her name is Michelle Tobin, which I have been mispronouncing for the last 4 months.
I laughed. Yeah.
Sorry, miss. Love you. So, the book is set in the 1970s. It is following a clinical therapist. Her name is Dorothy Morrissey. Yeah, it is following a clinical therapist. Her name is Dorothy Morrissey. She works for a what do you call it? A public hospital. So Dr. Dorothy Morrissey works for a public hospital as a clinical psychiatrist, as the shrink in there, and we not only get her perspective as a therapist, as a shrink, but her perspective as just a human being. And the perspective of all of her patients. We meet a plethora of patients, Thomas, George, Melissa, I forgot the rest.
Okay.
But we meet a plethora of patients that were diverse and incredibly well done. Incredibly well done. I am a tad bit biased because Marissa had BPD, which yours truly has, and it was not romanticized, nor was it villainized at all. And I was taken aback by that because mental health in general is immensely romanticized in books and in movies. In media as a whole, it is incredibly more romanticized to the point where even there are movies that I would love, but I would not recommend for people that want to see representation.
Okay.
To be honest, even my favorite movie of all time, which is Girl Interrupted, it is based on a true story. However, it was romanticized and villainized. So it's not really representation of BPD at all. But in the book, Home for the Bewildered, it was perfect.
I see.
It was so good. Not only was it good, but the writing was good. The structure of the book was good. The severances between each chapter were incredible. None of it felt like a schism. None of it felt chopped up. It felt smooth. And it felt, I had said this before, and I'll say it forever, it felt like a sliver of these people's lives. It's like you just opened up the ceiling and you're looking at the diorama of these people just living their life. The progression of their mental issues was so well done. It was natural and it was normal. And it highlighted something that is immensely important, which is a relationship between the therapist and a patient. Not a continuous relationship, not a romanticized relationship, but just it beginning. One of the patients had fallen in love, or thought they had fallen in love with Dr. Morrissey. And that's incredibly natural.
Okay.
Incredibly normal. For someone that goes through a lot of trauma, to go through a lot of trauma and to finally have someone that explains what had happened to you and why you act this way and why you do this and why you think this, and to dissect everything for you and then to help you through all of the
and
coping
tells you your
mechanisms.
attachment style and everything.
Yeah, and tells you your attachment style. It's easy to fall in love. It's easy for an attachment to be created. It's easy to think you're in love until she straightened him up. To have that relationship mentioned and for it not to be romanticized, because that is such an easy thing to spice up. That is such an easy thing to romanticize.
And to sell books.
And to sell books, especially with Book Talk. Oh my God, do not get me started on Book Talk now. Do not get me started on Book Talk now.
What about Book Talk?
I hate it. I mean, I like it.
Well, you're part of it.
I like being there.
Okay.
All right. I like being there. I like creating content there. I like a lot of the people creating content there. What I don't like is the goddamn repetition, my guy.
Mm-hmm.
We are seeing the exact same book recycled over and over and over and over and over and over again. Oh, stop.
Yeah.
Please. And hyped. And a lot of books that are not worth it. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're not a reader. You're not an in-depth reader.
Not like you, but compared to other people, I am a reader. Yeah, but go ahead.
To me,
not
you're
at all.
not really a reader. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why creating content around books is important. Because you can go to my channel, and, find books that are just as good as The Madman.
Okay.
Yeah, or better even. That will get you into reading. That will make you love reading. That will make you love the experience. You have to romanticize your experience. And I can give you a lot of books that romanticize your experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You mean your experience with life or?
Your experience reading to make it aesthetically pleasing.
Oh,
to actually better yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's but what about Home for the Bewildered? Can you elaborate on that? Can you keep elaborating on that?
Sorry.
Yeah. So you said that it did not romanticize the relationship.
No, Home for the Bewildered did not romanticize the relationship. However, the fact that it just mentioned that specific attachment was insane to me.
Yes.
Insane to me. I have yet to see that mentioned without it being toxic, without it being ensconced by toxicity. I have seen this mentioned in A Little Life. Sorry for everyone that thinks it's trauma porn. I love it. I love Little Life so much by Hanya Nagihara.
Mm-hmm.
Chef's kiss. It's about mental health. However, a lot of people think it's trauma porn, which I understand. But the trauma makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's realistic. I'm sorry, but personally, it is realistic.
Okay.
The response makes sense. And there was a relationship there between one of the main characters, Jude St. Francis, actually technically the main character, and a doctor who, in my opinion, enabled him. That was mentioned. However, it wasn't as amplified as it was done in Home for the Bewildered. It was perfect. That's all I can say. It was genuinely fucking perfect. Okay. I loved it so much. It's rare to see that. It's immensely rare to see that. The cherry on top was having a patient with borderline personality disorder. That was it. I was sold at that patient because borderline personality disorder is very seldom well represented. Actually, I'm finding it extremely hard to think of when the last time I saw something that represented it well. There was a movie, Prozac Nation. I love that movie so much. It did represent it well. Especially the link between borderline personality disorder and addiction, and the link between borderline personality disorder, addiction, and creativity. Borderline personality disorder, people that have borderline personality disorder tend to be immensely creative and tend to find themselves, or even which is why a lot of people, I don't want to speak for everyone, this is mostly from a personal view, but I think a lot of people that have borderline personality disorder find more pleasure and find it more normal to have a job, to even find financial support in something that is more creative. Editing, creating videos, painting, carving, doing this, doing that. It's very difficult for someone with borderline personality disorder to have a normal 9 to 5, to be stuck somewhere, because BPD is chaotic. In its nature, it is chaotic. It is unscrupulous. It is weird. It's all over the place. It's a roller coaster. Okay? It's a roller coaster of unscrupulous feelings that all reside sort of on a shallow spectrum, kind of. Yeah. And it's difficult to live day to day like that while being stuck somewhere. It's difficult for people with borderline personality disorder to have a job like that and to keep it. Yeah.
Which is disadvantageous for some of them, I guess.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. It's really difficult. This world is not made for neurodivergent people.
Yeah.
It is designed for neurotypicals.
Of course.
Which makes it really hard for people. A lot of things that you don't consider, I would think about over and over and over again. Just this, for example.
Yes, you were very nervous before we started this. Yeah.
I still am.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been months in the planning, not even in the making. It's been months. And it's I can't even begin to explain how it feels. And even like physically, I was shaking, like whimpering and shaking, and I can't sleep. Last time we planned this, I did not sleep, did I? At all, because my brain did not allow me. I would try to sleep and I would wake up thinking that I have this something new and unfamiliar to do. I am a woman of planning and routine. If I love one thing and I need one thing, it's a goddamn plan. Okay. That's all I want in life. Just give me a plan of a point by point of exactly what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Okay? And if something changes, please let me know beforehand.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I'm not doing that exactly right now.
You're doing beautifully.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
So doing something that is unfamiliar is a task. And it hinders your entire day. Like I said, I wasn't able to sleep because I have to do something that is new to me. I have to go somewhere where I don't usually go, and to an establishment where I've never been, and to meet someone who's a stranger, and to stay with them, and to sit with them, and to speak. If you remember when you first asked me to be on the podcast and we DM'd, I said, why?
I think so, yeah. I don't really remember that well. But yeah.
Well, when you invited me, I said, why?
Yeah, and I was challenged by it, you know? Yeah. I thought, what do you mean why?
Convince me to be here.
Yeah. Did I convince you well, though? I forgot what I told you, but yeah, I actually planned my response.
Yeah.
I had to write it down somewhere.
You said we can talk about books, about their importance and how they affected me, and how they kind of integrated into my view of life and sense and stuff like that. And I said, can we also talk about mental health?
Yeah.
Which is an important meld, to be honest. Personally, for me, I would not be where I am right now as equipped mentally without books. And I mean fiction. I don't mean non-fiction self-help.
How so? Could you explain to me? Because when you say that, my brain goes directly to educational things.
Yeah, I know.
So how did fiction help you?
Mostly, so having a personality disorder that sort of warps your view of the world, puts you under a bell jar. Love the book, by the way. Puts you under a bell jar, really, and everything is like you're watching everything and you're hearing everything and you're experiencing everything under a lens. And that lens sometimes may be rose-colored. Sometimes it's completely smoked out and it's completely dark and ineffable and abnormally warped and twisted. Puts my perspective askew a little or a lot sometimes. And being on the spectrum, that is a whole special meld. Yeah, and being on the spectrum in a time where it is disregarded by parents who do not understand it, who don't care for it, who don't give it the attention that it needs, that it deserves. So having a child that is nonverbal for 6 years, is it normal?
Yes.
Yeah, kind of needs to be checked out, but having all of that disregarded left me in arid lands, kind of. And it was ostracizing and lonesome. It was immensely lonely. And it still is, to be honest. It makes it difficult to understand certain things. For example, I have issues with empathy and apathy.
Okay.
Yeah. And I have issues with understanding people, understanding their point of view, understanding where someone may come from. You and I have spoken about this before, where there were instances where I genuinely don't understand how something is felt
Yes.
Yeah, and how something plays out in your head or in your body or feeling-wise, emotion-wise, just thinking-wise, I don't understand it. It's a foreign concept to me.
Okay.
Like, completely a foreign concept. It's like if you take a lion and they talk, okay, great analogy, Marie, and then you tell them, oh, how does a Caesar salad taste like?
Okay.
They're going to be like, I don't fucking know.
Yes, I don't eat Caesar
I don't know what that
salads.
is. What is that? And you're going to tell them it's this, it's that, it has anchovies, and it has this kind of oil and that kind of oil. And they can understand all of these things, and they can compile all of these things in their head to make a meal or a dish or whatever a salad is. But they still don't know what that is. That's how it feels.
Yeah.
Yeah, and reading fiction about things about fictional characters that are going through the motions, that are going through things, that are feeling things, that are saying things, it made it more understandable and in a safe space. I can open up a romance contemporary novel and see what these people are feeling and see their responses and see what they think and what they say and stuff like that, and get an understanding, get a window, a vicarious window of understanding to these people without me risking myself in the real world, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
That has helped my empathy and apathy a lot.
Okay.
Like tremendously. Yeah.
I see.
And it created this understanding of me accidentally hurting other people by not understanding, and I acting in ways because I am genuinely not aware that this is hurtful or this is not okay or this is inappropriate or, you know?
Yeah.
Because I don't have that awareness. So fiction helps a lot with that.
I see.
Yeah.
Because it puts you like it draws to you situations that might happen in real life.
Yeah.
Okay. What about educating yourself about mental health? It did help you a lot as well.
Yes.
How so? Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, I am immensely proud of myself for the knowledge that I've gained about mental health. So I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder around 4 or 5-ish years ago, and only got screened for autism not long ago, throughout maybe a year now, year and a half, maybe.
Okay.
It wasn't long at all, and I'm still in the process of learning about autism and figuring everything out and getting an understanding and stuff like that, so it would be easier for me and the people around me. Yeah.
We were talking about how educating yourself about mental health helped you.
Yeah. I think her hair is in my nose.
Yes.
I think just by talking about mental health, it was a critical moment for me where I had met a friend of mine who is still now my best friend ever.
Okay.
And it was the first time in my life that I met someone and I had told them I feel this and that.
Uh-huh.
And they were just like, oh, that's normal.
Oh.
That's okay.
Yeah.
And that kind of, so just by talking about it,
Okay.
and honestly by reading stuff that are not educational and are not non-fictional, that will open up a safe space for things to be talked about.
Okay.
Yeah, even if it's a little thing. For example, when we started this, we talked about Harry Potter getting angry.
Yes.
And being more of a man and having these feelings that he doesn't understand. Granted, he had a Horcrux in him, but don't we all?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just that small thing helps tremendously, because you read it and you're like, I'm angry too.
Okay.
Yeah, it had created, fostered, and opened up this immense safety reading about it and reading mental health represented in fiction.
Yes.
Tremendously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just by the fact that I'm reading about it, but the fact that I had met someone who is my best friend ever, and she still is today.
Yes.
And I talked to her about stuff like this, and the way we met, actually, it was via me trying to do research when it comes to mental health, because I was at a critical point where it was straight up hopelessness, you know, where it's literally going to Google, Why do yeah. Why do I want to die so badly?
Yeah.
Like, and one thing led to another. And we ended up meeting via a forum of mental health, supporting other mental health patients and stuff like that, or people that suffer with disorders, supporting other people. And we had met, and it was incredible. It was an eye-opening, pivotal moment. It was a complete shock, kind of, to be honest, because for the first time in my life, I met this person, and I am completely raw, and I am telling this person, I feel this way, and I don't understand this, and I don't understand that. And she just says, oh, neither do I. I am on the spectrum. That's okay. That's a normal thing when you're on the spectrum. That was a long time ago, and at the time, I did not even consider autism at all. I didn't even consider BPD, to be honest, because everything I looked up, every time I researched, nothing completely matched. BPD, until recently, has been a horrid thing to look up. You look it up, and it's literally like forums written by people who has gone on, like, have dated this person, and just like written literally the most horrid things about them. Okay. So if like 5 years ago, if you look up things about BPD, you're just gonna be like, these villainous, narcissistic, lying, manipulative people. I'm sorry, I'm not. Yeah. At all. Talking about the author again, her and I discussed this as well, because of her having so the author and I, actually, Michelle Tobin, we discussed this because she had a character that has borderline personality disorder, and because it was done so wonderfully, I had to ask over and over again why and how, and she herself has BPD. Okay. That's why. Yeah. That's why reading that, I felt seen, and I felt heard, and I felt comforted, and that is immensely helpful to people who are scared to get that help somewhere else, to people who can't even fathom going somewhere to get help, especially in a lot of places. In the majority of places, you are just drugged out or disregarded, which had happened to me, both of those things. Yeah. Completely drugged out, and it was insane. Imagine going to a psychiatrist and telling them I have these thoughts and these needs and these feelings, and they make me behave in this way and that way, and it's harmful. It is hurting me, and it is hurting others. And they just go, oh, Ritalin for this motherfucker. What the heck? Yeah. That's exactly the experience that I had. It's the easy way out for me. Yeah, it is the easy way completely. Or to be disregarded. I had to, at 19, had to sit and educate a professional. Oh, yeah. 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 Because I understand that. Yeah. I had told them about things, and they were just like, oh, are you on something? I'm gonna be now because of what you said. Yeah. Literally, I was shocked. Genuinely shocked. Yeah. And I said, no, I am not. And he said, well, I don't believe you. How the heck am I supposed to feel while going to a therapist?
Who tells you your normal state is like being under the influence of something. Yeah. Yeah.
And then putting you under the influence of a lot of things to just, Yeah. Yeah. Push you under the rug and just like forget about you for a little bit. It's insane. And I know that needs to be changed. So just by sitting here, talking about it, interviewing an author, reading books, and recommending those books to people that actually voice mental health in a good way, that shine a light on the good things, not only the good things about having certain disorders and having certain issues and stuff like that, but to just speak about it. You wouldn't do all of this if I tell you I have fucking asthma, would you? No. No. You can go and look up stuff. Yeah. A lot of things are exaggerated. A lot of things are hyperbole. A lot of things. Which is okay. It's kind of a meme that you're gonna die if you look up stuff at OneWebMD. It's okay.
Actually, yeah, you should talk about the misinformation about this subject, about PPD and mental health in general.
Yeah, Well, only recently it started being a little bit better. Only recently. Like I said, with BPD, if you look up BPD 5 years ago, it was a hellhole, a cesspool of misinformation. You are taught, this author alone had said, you are taught that these people, if you and I met 5 years ago and I said, I have borderline personality disorder, and you look it up, you would run the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah. You are taught that these people are liars, manipulative, angry, loud people. And then, like she said, you meet them.
And they're wonderful people.
And they're really just, human beings.
Yeah.
Yeah. With a really, really cool set of skills and a really great personality.
Yeah. Very charismatic.
But it is the case for a lot of people with BPD, if not all people with BPD. BPD, you have to meet 5 of 9 certain traits, okay? Which leaves a lot of combinations. That is 259 combinations. That is a lot of combinations. And then take those 200 and have something traits, and then add the society you live in, and then add the personality that is inherited in you, and then add other things, and then add the way your mother talked to you when you were 5, and then add stuff like that. Everyone is different. It's impossible to find 2 people and to just brand them with a diagnosis and just call it a day and just drug them and just call it a day. Which, by the way, newsflash, there are no drugs for BPD. None. There are things that may help with the side effects. What do you mean, how come?
How come there are no drugs? Because there's little
because
research?
It's a personality disorder.
Oh, so there can't be a drug.
It is not a chemical imbalance.
Oh, okay.
It is not a mental disorder.
But it is treated that way.
It is treated. It's not only treated that way. It's treated as if it's just you're a shitty person.
Okay.
It's not even treated as a mental issue.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the difference. Borderline personality disorder is a personality disorder. It is a personality that had to be carved because of traumatic things, because of consistent traumatic treatment. Yeah, at times, most cases, severe abuse at such a tender age.
Yeah. To
the point where your brain does not develop the way it needs to be developed at all, and you can see that. You can see that. That is why certain symptoms like black and white thinking come about. That is why certain symptoms like either amplifying things to the fullest or completely dissociating come about. Because your amygdala is not developed the same way that an amygdala that did not go through trauma was developed. It is not. Your frontal cortex, it is not the same as someone who does not have these issues at all. You have, issues understanding feelings or being able to regulate feelings. You have issues with logic, with understanding logic, which is why one of the symptoms of BPD, which contributes to some symptoms of BPD, like promiscuity. It's not to everyone with BPD that is promiscuous. It is not, but it is to a lot of people, and there's a reason why. There's a reason why you look for that attention. There is a reason why you look for that validation. There is a reason why you are, even on the opposite side, we are completely disgusted by anything intimate. There are reasons for all of this. And people disregard all of that and just brand it something, drag it out, and forget about it.
Yeah.
And that's insane. There are things that help, okay? It doesn't work for everyone. However, work with yourself. DPD, the creator of DPD, her name, sorry. But the creator of DPT had created dialectical behavioral therapy for borderline personality disorder because she herself has it.
Okay.
And it's been a revelation and a revolution.
How so?
Because it works.
Okay.
Because it helps people. Because it doesn't help all of... for me personally, I'm speaking about it this way and it didn't help me.
Okay.
But I know that it helped people. For me, CBT helped.
Cognitive behavioral
therapy. Gosh, darn it. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but CBT worked for me. It did. And it's something that I've, again, only recently been trying out. Before that, I was just flying solo. I had tried multiple plans, and multiple psychiatrists, and multiple therapists. Nothing worked because of a lack of understanding. The one psychiatrist that worked for me, He's learning with me.
Okay. I see.
But he's
It's good
open
that they are
to
open. Yeah,
Exactly.
it's good that they
There
are.
you go. He is open to learn.
Rare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At times, I go to an appointment, we finish, and then we end up having like an extra hour just to share information.
Okay, so you were talking about
Yeah.
Your therapist being open to.
Yeah.
So you would spend an extra hour doing
we
what?
would spend even more than that. Just sharing knowledge. Because I am obsessed with learning about BBT.
Okay.
I think you and I had a lot of conversations. And it's rare for me to have a conversation without telling you, well, actually, that comes is from a trauma response.
Okay.
It is difficult. And that is so safe to me. Having the knowledge is safe.
Okay.
Having the knowledge is safety. And it's comforting.
Okay.
And it's easy. It puts things on the table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see what you mean.
Yeah. This is a behavior. This is where it comes from.
Okay.
Yeah. This is the, I guess, the neuroplasticity tether between it.
Yeah.
This is what had happened. This is what it is now. Is it curable? Yeah. This is what it can be. This is what I'm doing. Puts everything on the table, and I absolutely love that. And it's so rare to find people, let alone a male psychiatrist, who is willing to understand, to speak to you about it, and willing to implement. They are willing to implement it.
Yeah.
It's rare to find people like this. People are insecure as shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially you, a patient, going to a therapist and telling them, actually, that's wrong. Yeah, that's immensely wrong.
And this happens to me a lot with a lot of professionals.
How so?
Oh, I can go from going to inflate my tire.
Yeah.
And the guy tells me that this is the correct pressure that I need to be on, and that if I'm not on that pressure, my tire might blow up, and actually the contrary would blow up my tire.
And then they get angry,
and they get immensely angry when they. Two corporate people who make a lot of money, to whom I explain their fucking job. And it's incredible. Like, I've been through so much. I've been through teachers teaching us wrong things.
Same.
Yeah, and I mean university teachers in master's classes teaching us something that is... this is completely out of our subject, but I had a teacher who showed us, like he was very excited to show us an accelerometer. So it was a huge device, and he said that he had bought it with a lot. It's like the price of a quite an expensive car, and it was a device that measures accelerations. And I said, when did you buy that? He said in 1998, and I told him, we have that now in our phones.
Yeah.
An accelerometer, like that's what tells your phone that you have moved it certain ways. And he got very confused and at some point very mad that I told him that
this big thing in this small thing. How work?
Well, times moved on.
We have literally the same amount of knowledge, more, that sent the first rocket to space in our phone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, it doesn't mean today it's worth the same thing, like the same computer, you buy it and you show it. Imagine like your teacher comes to you with an old computer and tells you this computer is very expensive. Well, it was expensive in 1960s.
Well,
not
actually,
anymore.
it depends on the computer. They can be valued.
I do have a Macintosh, like an old 1984 Macintosh. It's just I hold it just for the value of like, oh look, this is what Steve Jobs made, and that's it. But like other than that, it's not valuable at all.
Yeah. So you can imagine how refreshing it felt. How actually it was, how much of a revelation it was to me to sit with someone who is an actual professional and to tell him, well, actually, the subject we were speaking about is self-harm. And he was under the belief that it is created by drug use and amplified by drug use, which is not true. So I had said it's not true because this and that and that. And he goes, oh, tell me more. I cried.
Okay.
Yeah, and he still is to this day. Every appointment, he learns something new and I learn something new. We correct each other and all the time, and that is rare to see. It's immensely rare to see in professionals, in men, in people, like in general, because people get defended easily when they're corrected.
Yes.
Yeah, which ironically, it's what's hindering them to learn.
Yes, because when you're in a scientific field, you have to be objective about things.
Yeah.
You have to leave your ego aside. You have to be open to learn. You have to doubt even what you know is true, and you have to listen to people.
If people didn't ask questions, the world wouldn't have moved on.
Absolutely.
It wouldn't have been what it is now.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you are just stuck in a stagnant state, which, by the way, going back to the other thing, is why I highly believe that we're not going to see much progress in my lifetime because people are stagnant.
Yes. Yeah.
They are immensely stagnant.
The things are not discussed. Things
No.
are not. No.
They're not only treated as taboo, but they're just disregarded completely.
Yes. So something I wanted to talk about as well is you have some experience working with autistic people.
I do.
Would you like to speak about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have much experience yet.
Could you just like lay down your experience and then speak about it?
What do you mean?
Like talk about what you have done
Yeah.
in this subject.
Okay.
I know that you've worked for an institution at some point. And
Volunteered.
You volunteered, and so you've worked with children.
And I assess children online.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh.
I don't think you've mentioned it. But yeah, so you have some experience working with autistic people.
Yes.
What have you learned?
Well, the way it started, first of all, is because I am on the spectrum.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was completely taken into down a rabbit hole the moment I got confirmation that I am on the spectrum.
Okay.
It was confirmed, and that was it. Completely hyper-focused on it, and any way that I can get more knowledge. So I volunteered to get more knowledge, which I did, and it was such an abrupt click, I guess. It's easy to work with people and to understand people when you've gone through things. Yeah. There was an experience that kind of shaped what I ended up wanting to do with my life, which is focusing on this, hopefully. There were parents that had a kid, and they got him to the place where I was volunteering.
Okay.
Yeah, and the child was visibly abused.
How so?
As in bruised,
Okay.
cut up, not speaking, not eating, shaken, and would not make any eye contact, would not even lift their head. Okay? I'm sorry I made a note about this, because I did want to mention. What had happened is that their child was hyper-focused on something. Do you know the theory of metropolism?
No, I don't.
Okay. So, it is an autistic brain that is having one pathway of thinking, as in creating an immense hyper-focus on one certain thing, disallowing it to have any other interests or have even the ability, the actual cognitive function or the tethered neuroplasticity of actually doing other things and being aware of other things or having any interest in other things. And their child was going through that. Okay? With sand.
With sand?
With sand.
Okay.
Yeah. He loved sand at that moment in his life. Okay? If nurtured, that could have been something wonderful, couldn't it? Think about it.
Yeah.
Imagine you have this and you nurture it and you support it, he could have been a scientist.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He could have been, he could have gone through wanting to always have the sensory, the senses of sand, always wanting to touch it, to play with it, to seeing it under a microscope, to seeing things and wondering what those are, to seeing all the different hues that you see in sand under a microscope and wondering why those exist, because he was completely hyper-focused on sand. They could have nurtured that, and it could have been something great, but they did not. The day that completely changed things for him was that they were at the beach, and he would dip his biscuits in the sand and eat them. Okay?
Oh, okay.
And they
punished him for it.
They punished him for that. A lot.
Yes.
Yeah. And yelled at him and blamed him for things, and as if he ruined their day at the beach and stuff like that. And I never wanted to beat someone up in my life so much.
But wait, isn't it dangerous for his health to dip biscuit in the sand and eat it?
Well, yeah, but how you could have gone, you could have taken a different route with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, all he wanted to do was touch sand, play with sand, be covered in sand all the time. All the time. And
God created sand for a reason.
I know.
Yeah.
And it was a nuisance to them. Yeah, and they beat him up for it and just threw him into an establishment.
Yeah.
And it was a moment that shaped me. One of the moments that shaped me. But it was one of the biggest moments that made me want to do this. And made me want to get into this field and to completely push myself out of my comfort zone, which I am doing continuously. Because, to be honest, just what I'm doing here now may help someone.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. And that's comforting to me. Arguably, it's from a selfish reason.
Yes.
But we're not going to talk about that. There were ways that could have went, that would have taken literally no time at all. They could have had a bucket filled with sand in the child's room.
Yes.
Yeah. They could have bought a kiddie pool and filled it with kinetic sand.
Yes. There are sand toys.
Kinetic sand.
Yeah.
They could have had a kiddie pool, filled it with kinetic sand, and dumped the child in there. He would have been in Valhalla. Completely,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Not Valhalla, the contrary. Just heaven.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
He would have been in Beetlejuice alternate universe, where it's just sand and sandworms. But he would have been happy. And he would have had the chance to explore. And to, I don't know, just to do what he wanted to do.
Yes.
And while, through punishing him, they had created a split. A sort of split. Where this child that went through being completely focused on this one subject is now completely divided, is a denuded human being. And when you see this person, when you look at the child, it's like a shell. It's a denuded child. It is not a child.
Okay.
It's been something, it looked like something has been robbed from this child. And unfortunately, something had been robbed. And just that act that took, 5 minutes of you yelling and beating this person up is going to affect them for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
This child was far into the spectrum. He did not speak even before. He just made noises and stuff like that, which is okay. But no, he didn't speak at all. He didn't make any noises at all. He didn't want to eat. He had to be on an IV. He couldn't eat. And he's not aware of what he's not doing even, which is insane. So to be able to help, I guess, even a little bit,
Yeah.
it's
amazing.
It's comforting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I congratulate you for that. It's really good because it's such good that you do in life when you help someone like this. It's more good than what people do in their lifetimes, I believe. Could you tell me about misconceptions about people with mental issues?
Yeah. There are a lot of misunderstandings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The most prominent one is that they're stupid.
Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think it's something that you have even seen in your life, even though you don't have a personal view of being mentally ill.
Yes, we call them retards.
There you go. There you go. And there is a huge misconception. Why? Let me ask you, why do you call them that? Do you think that of people with mental issues, that they have a low IQ?
Because you see them in situations where they would take longer to react properly / react inappropriately. No. So we call them retards and we think they are stupid.
Yeah, but you're wrong.
Okay.
And I'm glad now you reached a place in your life where you understand that that's wrong.
I had to have a first-hand experience for me to understand that. Yes, because when I was told about these cases, I was told that they were, they had underdeveloped brains. But then I met someone, which made me realize, oh, this guy is more intelligent than like the average dude I meet in life. So yeah.
How did that change though happen for you? You met a person, you met a dude, and he's what, autistic?
Oh, I believe so. He's extremely inappropriate socially.
Okay.
Like if you don't control him, he would be incredibly annoying. As in, he wouldn't for example, if you put him in a normal class, he would literally keep participating in the class to the point where it's impossible to give a class. Yeah, and actually he wouldn't participate in a stupid way or /
we know
irrelevant.
Shit, and we get passionate about them.
Yes, so he would participate in a passionate way, etc. So other than that, he could showcase stalky behaviors. He could approach women inappropriately. They do that. So it's very difficult to let them in the wild. Which is a challenge. So this is the most I know about this case. Because they wanted to have him in the classroom, and I told them that I am not qualified for it, but I am very open to the idea of having him in the classroom. And he was incredibly happy when he attended an English class, and he already spoke English very well because he learned it on his own. There you go. Like he would keep talking to me and telling me about things in life. Like he would tell me about what happened to him recently. He would tell me about some experiences he had. He would like things like that, like a kid. And his sisters would try to stop him, and I would say it's okay. But actually, factually, it wasn't really okay because I had a job to do. And I had a classroom to run, and at some point it became impossible to do that. So we only did it once. So he didn't come back. But it was eye-opening for me because I thought it was just a movie thing when they would depict an autistic person who's actually intelligent in other things. Turns out I met someone who was like that, and it was fascinating. Yeah.
I know. A lot of people completely disregard the fact that autism is a spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
It can go from someone being completely nonverbal, unable to feed themselves, to change their clothing, to live on their own, even stay alone for half an hour. Someone that is extremely visible, whose autism is very visible, to someone who they can tell you and explain everything, and you still have a hard time understanding that this person is autistic, which is something that happens to me a lot. Yeah, since I became aware, and I'm very honest about it and about borderline personality disorder, and I try to drop certain things here and there, certain things about me when it comes to mental issues and mental health and stuff like that, because I do wholeheartedly believe that it's helpful to other people. It's helpful to me because it's comforting and it's safe, and it all boils down to safety, doesn't it?
Okay, yeah.
All of it, literally. If you feel safe enough watching someone that says, "Oh, yeah, I kind of have this trait, and it's been a genetic issue from autism and this and that," and they would explain things wonderfully. It creates a safe space for you to watch this person even, and then to admit that you yourself have certain traits that maybe need to be looked at more. Maybe you need regulation. Maybe you have an unhealthy attachment style. Yeah, maybe it's taking a toll on your life. Maybe it's this, maybe it's that, maybe it's whatever. But to create that sort of vicarious, to create a sort of vicarious safety net.
Yes.
I wholeheartedly believe that it is able to create a domino effect into someone's betterment. It was the case for me, and I know firsthand that it is the case for many people. Yeah. So that's the point. That's the point. It's talking about it. It's talking about it and normalizing it to the point where maybe someday we'll get to live in a world, or our children's children will get to live in a world where
that is more welcoming to them.
That is more welcoming, more adept, and more understanding. Where you wouldn't see someone that has a difficulty time speaking and think they are retarded.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd understand. You'd be just as accepting of me saying, I am actually on the spectrum, as you are of someone that is way far down the spectrum.
Okay.
Yeah, because people have a hard time believing it.
Yeah.
And understanding it, literally. Like, I would tell you, and you would say, you don't look autistic. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do about that. Yeah. And it creates a lot of issues. A lot of issues in life. Even with the personality disorder, I'm very honest about it. Will forever be. Yeah, because I think that's the way to go. I think people disregard how pivotal it is. How pivotal to be on the spectrum, how much it actually affects a person's life. In things that are maybe mundane to you, to a lot of other people. But to someone who is struggling mentally, who is on a spectrum that literally makes them have a fully changed view of life, of people, of society, and of societal quota and stuff like that, it's different.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's different. And it takes a first-hand experience, which I'm glad you had, that changed your mind. I'm really happy about that.
Yes.
Yeah. Another thing that is immensely misunderstood is that it's incurable. Mental issues, personality disorders, that it is incurable, especially when it comes to personality disorders. A lot of things, a lot of traits, a lot of behaviors that fall under the autism spectrum require a lot of help and a lot of regulation and a lot of understanding and a lot of care and a lot of safety. However, it helps. It helps. I have seen people going from actual toddlers, 6 years old, 7-year-old people, to 19, 20, 22. That were showcasing behaviors that would be, I guess, considered extreme to a lot of, very many people. That started off not speaking, not eating well, disregarding their hygiene, hyper-focusing on certain things that were not healthy, to actually being able to use words, especially the younger ones, especially to be able to even use voices to their own advantage, to be able to understand what a sensory overload is, to be able to utilize that, to be able to tell someone, I need to be in a dark, quiet place because I'm panicking.
Yeah.
To understand what that panic is. Yeah. It is misunderstood greatly, but nothing is incurable like that. Anything can be helped when it comes to this. A lot of things can be helped. I think a lot of people misunderstand when we say that, for example, borderline personality disorder is treatable. I think I think they go to the extreme of it not existing in you anymore, which doesn't happen. Sorry to tell you, but it does not happen. However, symptoms are, symptoms can be helped. Yeah, a lot of things can be helped. Who I am now, the way I behave now, is literally the antithesis of 19-year-old me. And that took work. It didn't just happen, and it definitely did not happen via medication. I tried. Mm-hmm. It did not. It took immense daily consecutive consensual work. Like, every day you have to be aware of it, of all of it, every single day. Yeah. And whenever you're aware of it, you have to keep doing the work, which is heartbreaking. But it is curable. It is treatable. Completely treatable. To understand where things come from, even just to understand where a certain behavior comes from, alone is powerful, I think. From a personal experience, it is powerful. It makes it so easy to just have knowledge behind it. Yeah, mm-hmm. I could have called you this morning and said, I can't make it today. I'm overwhelmed, I'm shaky, I can't sleep, I can't eat, I can't do anything. I'm extremely anxious and I need to calm down. Yeah. And that would be easy to explain. But on the other hand, I could have just disregarded you completely, which is a huge thing with borderline personality disorder, which is like ghosting people. Okay. I could have disregarded everything completely. It comes natural. It comes easy, I guess. The ramifications of it are not easy, but doing it, the act itself, it comes in, it's like the default thing to do. Yeah. You feel unsafe and you go completely. Yeah, you split and you go completely. You dissociate and you go completely. And to be able to stop doing that, or to have the wording to verbalize it even to you, to other people, that takes work. But I can do it now. Yeah.
It's eye-opening talking to you about these subjects, Marie. Thank you so much for educating me, and hopefully educating people that are listening to us. I think there are plenty of things we should talk about. Would you be open to doing a second part?
I would love to.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for being here. Would you like to add anything?
I'm good.
Okay,
Actually, I would.
Okay. Of course you'd.
Okay, so another thing that really, really rubs me off the wrong way, that was not the good terminology to use. Another thing that sets me off the wrong way is...
A lot of cutting.
Another thing that sets me off the wrong way, completely fucking enrages me, is that it's all in your head.
What is?
No, the fuck is not. Mental issues.
Oh, yeah.
It is not.
Okay.
It is not. For example, a lot of people, actually the majority of people dealing with mental issues have a hard time sleeping. Can you tell me why?
Why?
Physically, can you tell me why?
No.
Okay, so when you sleep, you go through 4 stages, okay? You have your REM, and then your N2 and 3, and your N1 and 2 and 3, okay? Your non-REM periods of sleep, okay? Your REM is your rapid eye movement, which is where you twitch a lot and you dream and stuff like that. And then you have 3 of an NREM, a non-rapid eye movement, okay? And people with mental issues have a little issue with their brain, and as not to be able to get to all of the stages of sleep. Now think, if every time you sleep, you spend a lot of time in your life sleeping.
Yes.
And imagine all of those years in your life that you spent sleeping, you're not relaxing properly at all.
That's going to have a mental toll.
That's going to have a huge mental
physical toll as well.
What happened that you and I had planned to do this before. I couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
Did we? We did not. I couldn't. I was so drained from being anxious. It's like you set off a goddamn bear on me or a tiger on me. And I was just running all over the place mentally and shaky all over the place and anxious all over the place. But there was no bear. It was just something unfamiliar, and I wasn't able to sleep. I wasn't able to eat. I wasn't able to even do anything that allows me to have a basic cognitive, my cognitive issues to work properly. Yeah, I couldn't. So imagine someone with severe mental issues that is not physically, biologically able to get to the full stages of sleep. Every time they sleep, it's either because of CPTSD, complex post-traumatic disorder, you get night terrors. And it's what happens with PTSD, or actually CPTSD, is when someone gets triggered and has an episode of going back to stuff that had happened. There was actually an experiment, I told you about this before, that had happened with someone that suffers with CPTSD, that was diagnosed with CPTSD because of an accident. Okay? So this person was... Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm listening. Okay. I'm interested.
Okay. So this person was... this person's brain was under a scan. They were scanning the brain, and they had triggered this person.
Okay.
Yeah, actively, constantly triggered this person. And they saw what happens physically to this person, how anxious they got, how fearful they got, how their amygdalas had completely went derailed, how their fear receptors went completely bonkers, how they started shaking, they started sweating, their teeth started chattering. Why? It's not a case of them remembering this incident, it's a case of them reliving this incident. So when someone gets triggered, when someone is going through something, it is not just in your head. This alone, just not sleeping properly, has an incredible toll on you, on your daily life. Imagine going weeks and weeks and weeks while having 2 hours of sleep each night, maybe nothing. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That is a
That's
lot.
Not, your body is not designed to.
It is not designed for that, is it? And imagine having that every night. And whenever you sleep, you get into night terrors, which that's what happens. You live through the experience again. So someone that went through abuse and has night terrors, they will go through that abuse again. You can see how easy it is to get addicted to drugs now, can't you?
Oh, yeah.
Imagine having something accessible that you can just take and sleep.
Yes.
So the link is there, and it is so easy to understand. And I think it is the wrong move to villainize people that have drug issues and that resort to drugs. I think it makes everything worse. And I think just by telling people it's all in your head, I think it's absolute. I'm sorry to say this, but it's stupid. I'm sorry. What the heck do you mean it's all in my head? Yeah, it's in an organ inside my body.
But I'm not imagining these issues. Yeah.
Yeah. But why do people not consider the brain an organ?
Yeah, I think we still have a long way to understand how the brain functions.
It's so
still very
insane.
Mysterious, yeah.
It's so insane to me. I give this analogy to literally everyone that I have this conversation with, and I never have a proper answer. So if I tell you that I have a kidney failure,
I would believe you.
Yeah, because
it's
tangible, isn't it?
Tangible, yeah.
Yeah. Then if I tell you, oh, I have a personality disorder that disallowed my brain to function properly, you'd be like,
I don't know what you mean.
I don't know what that is. Or it's all in your head. Yeah, thanks, Karen. It is all in my head. That's the point.
Yeah.
It is just an organ. It is a vital organ. It is you. It is all of you, basically. It is what you feel and what you say and what you're passionate about. Makes you, what breaks you. And there is something askew in it, something imbalanced in it, and you're just disregarding it by saying it's all in your head.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here, Mari.
You
and see you next time.